Hello. Hello, Jamaicans.com. How are you? How is everyone doing? Happy Friday. I'm going to hang in here for a couple minutes, a minute or two to see folks come on live. And as you come on, please identify yourselves by saying hello and telling me where you're dialing from, okay? Happy Friday, everybody. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to my mommies coming up. That's what this session is going to be about. I have so many topics that I would love to discuss with you, but I just can't do it all in one session. So I decided to just go ahead and do it on Mothers today and parenting by moms. So thank you for joining us. Hello, Maxine. Maxine, tell me where you're joining me from. Also, everyone else who's joining, please let me know where you're joining us from, okay? Yes, happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I am super excited about this weekend because I've been in school. For those of you who were watching me last week and who were on the Sunday evening sessions, I have been in school full time. And this semester has been rough because of this whole pandemic, and I have so much work to do that honestly I didn't feel like doing, but this is my last day of submitting assignments, so I'm excited to just turn in everything and live my life for the summer. I don't think I'm gonna go to school. Actually, I am not going to school full-time this semester, so I am super excited. All right, let me see who's joining me. I have Anne-Marie joining me from Barbados. Yvonne is in Southeast Queens, New York. Tiffany, hello. Happy Friday to you too. Alexis is from Bronx, and Maxine is in New York. Okay. Maxine was the first one to join us. So thank you for joining my namesake. Tiffany is from New Jersey, and we have Stanley Ray from Washington, D.C. So what I would love to do is see more people on here who joined me on Sunday evenings, and then I will see repeated supporters, and I'll be even more excited to see you guys returning next week. So thank you for joining me. Sandra Williams. Hey, Sandra. Thanks for joining me, lady. So we're going to talk about Mother's Day and moms and parenting today. I really need you to engage with me and just make this discussion about us versus me here talking to you, because I want to hear from you too, okay? So the main thing is boss moms who are amazing parents, amazing mommies as well. And I was in the military, and so I did that for 22 years, and 9 years of that, my daughter was in the military, dual military settings with myself and my husband. And so parenting is difficult, period. But when you have to leave your kids, it's always harder, when you have to leave them for 12 months at a time. So being a mom in the military had its effects on us as a family, and its effects on our daughter, because both of us were gone sometimes, and she had to stay with family members and friends. Yeah, a very good friend of mine was the first to take care of my child while I was deployed to Haiti, and my husband was in Afghanistan. So it was very challenging, and I can tell you that being a mom, number one, is hard, but it's even harder when you can't be with your kid to be that mom that you want to be. And I've been away from her several times. So I'm going to say some shout outs again before I get into my spiel, and please ask questions. I just shared with you a little bit of my story, and I'll share a little bit more. But I'm here to celebrate all moms. I'm here to celebrate you. And I would love to hear about how you are a parent, how you do motherhood. And if there are any men on here, please let me know what you would love to hear to see mothers do that you think would be effective or more effective style of parenting. Okay, so this is a dialogue between us, among all of us, and I would love to get your input. So Tiffany from Orlando, thanks for joining. I think you said hi earlier. Oh, there's another Tiffany. Tiffany McBean is from Orlando. Tiffany Reed is from New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. Yvonne, thank you for having us, Yvonne. For joining me. She said, thank you for having us. It's my pleasure, and I appreciate you. Elaine from UK, your first visit, yay! So I'm glad that your first visit is on my show. I appreciate you. And thank you for your support. Yes, it has been a very fulfilling career, but that's another conversation on its own. I can definitely share with you being a mother and being in the uniformed services. And for me, I served in the Air Force and the Army, but my time as a mom was fully in the Army. And if I was to tell you some of these stories that I experienced, some of these things that I experienced, and I can, the direction I want this to be in is really how to be a mom and work full time. And be as good as you can be, because you're never going to be perfect, but just know that there's no rule, there's no Bible to being that mom, that effective mom. You just have to be the best mom that you know how to. And if you have any challenges at all, ask other moms that may seem that they're doing a great job, but don't think that you're not doing a good job, okay? Because everyone moms differently, everyone parent differently. So going back to my experience as a mother, I was pregnant in 2008, first pregnancy, everything. And so 2008, when I told my boss that I was pregnant, and I had told her my husband and I were planning on having kids. And so my boss was super excited for us, because she knew that we've been in the military for 11 years already. We've served, and now it's time to do us, and not wait on the military, because any career is not going to wait for you. You have to be ready to become a parent. And so pregnancy in 2008, the first conversation I had, the response that I received, the question was asked, is she going to keep the baby? Is she going to keep the baby? That was the first question. When I told my husband, he was so upset, right? So when I heard that, I was so upset and disturbed, because I have served 11 years prior. So I've made the organization my priority. And now it's time to choose my family and start my family. My husband had just got back from his deployment, his 15 months deployment. And he told me before he came home, hey, prepare to get pregnant, because this is the time, it's time. He's seen a whole lot of stuff. And, he just wanted to make sure that if he was to go back again, that I would have company at home if something was to happen to him. And so we decided to have a baby. And the first, I gave my boss the news, and that she spoke with I won't say the chain of command, but someone in the chain of command asked her if I was gonna keep the baby. And knowing what I believe, I was very upset about that. Anyways, moved on, we had our healthy baby, and 5 months after the baby was born, I had to leave her while I was breastfeeding. I had to leave her for 3 weeks. And until this day, I get teary-eyed when I talk about it to some people, because it's something that not all moms get to experience, because a lot of moms, they get to be home with their kids during the whole breastfeeding period, whether it's 12 months, 15 months, 24 months, whatever it is, right? And it was hard for me to leave my daughter at 5 months, when in my head, I'm here thinking that I'm going to have a similar experience like my mom and my aunts, that I grew up in Jamaica, and I've seen them and the way they were able to be with their kids at such a young age. So my child was still an infant. 5 months old, I was gone. So I had to pump milk and freeze it. My husband gladly was not deployed and he was home, so he was able to take care of her for me while I went to another state for in the field for 3 weeks. And I had to bring the breast pump with me, so I was pumping my baby's food, my baby's milk, and I was pouring it out down the toilet. So I was throwing my baby's food away. Man, I cried every time. And if you're a mom, yeah, I see the angry face. Thank you for having empathy on the situation. But if you're a mom and you've been through anything similar to this, or just can't imagine leaving your child at 5 months while breastfeeding, please drop a note in the comments and just tell me what you think about it. Tell me how you feel about it. So that's the story I wanted to share with you, because some of us, and it's not just me in the military, several of us have gone through similar situations, but I can only share my story right now because we don't have enough time for me to share everyone's. But that was one of the most difficult things. I think probably still the most difficult thing that I've been through as a mom. When I wanted to be there the whole time, the 12 months I planned on breastfeeding her, the minimum, and I wasn't able to do it because when I was gone, I came back, the milk would not pump the same way. It would not flow the same way because it was forced by the machine to get the milk out, and then I was storing it away. So by the third week when I came home, there was very little milk left for my baby. And yes, I gave her milk, whatever was I could produce for the rest of the time. But I think by 8 months, it was like she was used to the bottle already, and there was nothing there for her. So I just quit. That was it. Right. And so there are many moms who've been through similar experiences and similar hardships that they still feel guilty until this day. And I know that I did it for her. But sometimes if you're a supervisor out there, whether you're in the military or not, sometimes certain situations like this, you should consider putting yourself in that person's shoes and make a decision as far as should you allow them to leave their baby that young to do something, an activity that could have been done from home, because this activity that I did could have been done on my location that I was stationed at. So just making those decisions to help mommies out would be appreciated. All right, so that's my quick spiel. There are other times that I had to leave her for 12 months in the Middle East and all that, but I won't go through all of that because I think the mom breastfeeding part was the key that led me to want to have a conversation today. So I would love for you guys to ask questions as well, and then share your stories with me, and just anything that you could think of that has to do with motherhood and parenting and the challenges that comes with it. Hello to all my. Are you guys still there? Okay, there it goes. I froze for a second. I see Mary in there, and even if you didn't give birth to a child, but you have been a stepmom and an auntie, or someone who's helped another person to raise their child, and you are somewhat a partial parent to them. So we thank you for helping our mommies out, because we all need some help sometime, whether it's childcare or I was on a chat last night with Boss Moms. Over 100 mothers were on that call, and some of the stories I heard, they were quite devastating, and I couldn't imagine not being able to feed my child at any point in time. And this situation is happening right now during this COVID-19. And so I charge you and encourage you to help another mommy out. If you hear of a situation where there's a mom who, for whatever reason, because I know some people, the first thing they think of is, well, they put themselves in that position, so I'm not going to help them. No, don't think of it like that. Help them because you can, and because if you were in that situation, you would want someone to help you too. So think of the children that have nothing to do with the responsibility of feeding themselves. Okay, so if you can help them out in any way that you can, and you, the blessings will come later. Okay, the blessings will come. But some of the things that we spoke about last night in that Boss Mom chat were being able to provide for your kid during this time period, and then being able to help others. One mom, the organizer, she got sponsors to help these moms who can't afford to feed their kids, and even just to feed them dinner for a week. She was able to get sponsors, and the other moms that were online with the group were able to donate money or items if they're nearby the organizer's home to help these other moms out. So moms, just know that you're all being thought of. We appreciate you. As a fellow mother, I appreciate you and all the work that you have done for your children, just to be that ideal mommy, to raise them the best way that you know how to. I have some points on here, so let me know, what are some of the things that you believe moms should instill in their children, or moms should make sure that it happens with their children before they get old, while they're young. What are some of the things? For me, values is definitely one thing. Morals, discipline. And when I say discipline, it's not discipline when it comes to spankings or anything like that. It's just the discipline to, if they start something, to finish it. Like my daughter, she's an artist. And so she will start a piece of art, and it's if it's not complete, yeah, it may be art to some, but when you have a vision for what it will look like in the end, you want to have the discipline to continue to do it and to finish it and get to see the final product that you envision. So stuff like that. That's what I mentioned about discipline, and just teaching them what's right, and not accepting anything other. Because I've seen some parents and some moms, it's Mother's Day, we're talking about mothers. I've seen some moms who they get impatient with their kids, and so because they're impatient, they just let the kids do whatever it is that they want to do, which is not right, because that's not good parenting. And that's where the discipline comes in. You want to pull them aside, talk to them, and let them know this is not right. This is the way you should be doing things. And so that they can know the importance of doing it correctly in the beginning, so they won't fail in the future. So discipline is definitely one thing. Independence is another thing. And it goes back to discipline. My daughter, she knows how to cook. And she's been cooking from... I'm laughing because I remember the first time she attempted to cook without us being present was one of the scariest times. We were stationed in North Carolina, and we're upstairs on a Saturday morning. And usually she comes into our room on that side on Saturdays, but this time we were surprised by around 9 o'clock. She wasn't in our room, and so we just called out her name. Her name is Victoria. Say, "Hey, Victoria," and we couldn't hear her, and we called her name again, and I vaguely heard her, and she was downstairs. So I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Making breakfast." She said, "Making breakfast." 3 years old. I flew downstairs, and when I went into the kitchen, she was on her stepping stool. The frying pan was on the stove, and she had the eggs out of the refrigerator. All 1 dozen eggs, because we had went grocery shopping the night before. 1 dozen eggs cracked, perfectly cracked, no shells inside of the frying pan. Our daughter was making breakfast, but guess what? There was no fire. Praise God. She did not turn the stove on because her little arms were not long enough to reach the knobs on the stove. So it was so shocking. Funny, right, Yvonne? Exactly. It was funny, or it's funny now, and it was funny after we realized that she didn't have the stove on. But God forbid she knew, well, if her arms were long enough to turn on the knobs on the stove, it would have been probably a different story. So teaching her to cook was good, but she was a little too independent too soon at 3 years old, because she did what we taught her, to put the doorknob, the stepping stool next to the stove, since she can't, get to it on her own, but just to observe what we're doing. And we had her, far off enough to decide where she won't get injured or anything like that. So that we just wanted her to observe what we're doing. So whenever it was time for her to do it safely, then she could do it with observation. But our child went on her own. She's like, I know what to do. And independent as she was at 3 years old, she was making breakfast, as she said, breakfast with eggs. And from then on, I knew she wanted to be independent. And so we taught her, yes, we're going to teach you things, but that doesn't mean it's going to be time for you to do it. And we have to be around if you're going to be cooking. So now she's 11 years old. We make sure that we are home, but we don't necessarily have to be next to her at the stove, because she's pretty independent now. She makes breakfast. She has friends that may come over, and they don't know, they're not at the stage where she's at, and they're either 11 or 12 years old, and she teaches them how to cook, whether it's pastas or making different types of breakfast. She makes eggs, of course, and she makes pancakes, and those are the two main things. Of course, cereal, that's the easiest thing. But as far as cooking on the stove, she does that. So, being a mom is a challenging task. So we have to, know the different steps to help the kids to be independent, but not to hurt themselves. And, so these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you about my adventures as a mom. And then let you know that if you're a mom and you feel like you have to be perfect, no, you do not have to be perfect. You just have to be the best mommy that you can be, and just share with other moms the experiences that you've had, and so they can improve and know when to say, okay, you can learn this, but you can turn on the stove, or you cannot break the eggs at 3 years old without mom and dad being there. All right, going back to who's on here. Stacy Hibbert. Okay, hey Stacy. Hi Mary. And Yvonne. Oh, Victoria. I know, right, Yvonne? And Tiffany says funny and scary. Yes. And Yvonne says very interesting. She's very smart. Oh my goodness. She's on the treadmill right now because homeschooling and her not wanting to go outside to exercise, we have the treadmill. So now she's on there to make sure that she gets her exercise on daily. But if she wasn't on there, I would have her say hello to you guys. She is the sweetest. Mary is on here. Mary knows her very well. She's the sweetest child that you could ever want as a parent. Both my husband and I say it. We taught her from very young some of the things that we learned, the values that we learned. My husband was raised by a single mom, and she was in the military the entire time. So he's a military brat himself. And I was raised by my great-grandmother in Jamaica, South Manchester. And so the teachings that I learned from her, I teach them to my daughter now, as much as it's relevant to her in today's society and in this country, because growing up in America is definitely different than growing up in Jamaica, especially in the countryside where I grew up. So I teach her a whole lot of my stuff that I learned from my roots and from the elderly. My great-grandmother was born in 1907. And so she was a wise woman, and she taught me a whole lot values that I still use today. And I enforce those values on my daughter in a way that is relevant to her in this society today. So I'm very grateful for my teachings. And yes, she was not my mother per se, but she was the mother figure, or the motherly figure in my life. That was my great-grandmother. And when she passed away, I had my mom's parents that were part of my life as well, who helped to raise me. And then my dad's mom, who is in South Florida, because I grew up in South Florida after I migrated from Jamaica. My grandma Maudie, she became my mother after I left Jamaica. So I was raised by so many strong women who were all ambitious and who instilled something in me that I can say I took away from them, and now it's helping me to be that mother for my child. So I wasn't raised in a two family home, but I was raised by a group of amazing women. And I was able to live with my mom for about 3 years before I moved to the United States. Actually, 2.5 years. And then while I was in active duty in the military, my mom came to live with me and help me out as I needed her help as a mom working full time. So to all my boss moms out there who are just doing your best to work hard and be that parent and be that significant other, I give you a salute on your accomplishments and where you are right now and where you're going to go, because you just can't take on this task without seeking whether it's advice from others or just having someone to lean on, a shoulder to lean on to help you through the process, because it's not a journey that you should go on your own. You should always have a tribe. And everyone always say, the older folks always say it takes a village. And I can definitely say, being a military mom, it definitely took a village for us. While I was deployed, I needed someone to take care of our child. My husband was deployed to Afghanistan. I was deployed to Haiti when our daughter was 11 months old. And before she was 11 months old, I left when she was 5 months old. But thank God my husband was home. He didn't leave for his deployment as yet. So he was able to be that single dad in that situation and taking care of our daughter. And we've had so many other friends. My mother-in-law, my brother-in-law helped as well when I was gone for 12 months to between Qatar and Afghanistan. I was gone for 12 months, and my husband wasn't able to take care of our child because he was in a school that required him to be there pretty much by himself. So our daughter had to go to Hawaii to live with her uncle, his wife, and her two cousins, their two daughters. And my mother-in-law was there as well. So it takes a village, man. And, I'm absolutely appreciative of everyone who has been a significant part of our lives and who have helped us to raise our child. And she's 11 now, very independent. And she's helped me to be a stronger person. She's been a mentor to me. And I say that because she's taught me a whole lot about how to be a better mother, one that's more effective. And it's really because we taught her to communicate with us and have open dialogue with us and just be that amazing kid that she is and that is honest. And let me tell you, the child is super honest. She just tells us as it is, as is going through her emotions, and we encourage that. So we cannot blame her for being upfront with us, but we're very grateful. So do me a favor, if you think this post will help your friends or any mom that may want to hear what they believe that would need to hear the story or would like to hear the story, please share this post with them and them in this post, as we can't be perfect, and any story can help a mother to have a better time, a less eventful time when it comes to making mistakes as moms. Okay, so I absolutely appreciate you joining me, and I would love to hear from you. If I'm not hearing from you, then I'm just gonna hop off and then answer your questions. But if you have questions, comments, please go ahead and do so. And just remember that as a mom, we all go through things, and we can all grow through them, through the support systems and tribes that we create for ourselves. And just know that you're not on your own. Seek assistance. There's so many resources that are out there, like the Boss Mom group that I was in yesterday. I was so surprised. 100 people, over 100 people showed up. And there's so many amazing moms that were on there that had strong, interesting powerful stories that they shared with us. I didn't get to speak last night, but I'm grateful that I have a story that I know I should not hold back in sharing with others, because my story can help someone else who's been in a similar situation or the same situation. I came through that resilient as ever. My child is as resilient as ever. And I am grateful that God brought me through that situation and to where I am right now. Because I can tell you, although I went through it and I was strong during that time, it affected me, and my story could have went sour and went downhill. My life could have gone downhill. But I made sure that I surrounded myself with the right people, and I have a very supportive husband who has helped me through it and he encouraged me to stick it out or have him be the only one in the military and I just go be a mom. He said, whatever it is that you want to do. He said, I know you can do this. This is just a time that we're going through, that we have some people who support us and some people who don't, because either they don't know how to support us or they just don't care about me being a mom. All they want me to do is be there and work for them so they can look good and get promoted and move on with their lives. But I did not quit. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that other moms have been through different things and they've encouraged me along the way. And I had my mother, who was able to leave Canada and come to be with me so she could help me out, and so that I can focus on work more and still be there for my daughter. But at least I know that if I'm super tired because of work, then mom is going to be there to help our daughter. And so I'm grateful. And during this time, my husband was living somewhere else because of the military. We were not living together this whole time. And mom was able to come and help us out. So I absolutely appreciate her. Thanking all mommies on this great day. And all boss moms, want to let you know that you can do this. You don't have to struggle on your own. Ask for help. And if you are a mom and you see another mom struggling, do not hesitate to reach out to them. And I'm going to drop something out here for Jamaican moms or Caribbean moms, Caribbean women. We are... some of us, I'm not going to say all of us, some of us can be very proud, or too proud. When I say proud, too proud to ask for help or too proud to accept help. But don't be that person. Grow through that. Go get over that. Whenever you need help, ask for it. Don't care what someone may think of you and allow your child to starve because that day you cannot provide for them, or that week. Ask for help. Someone will help you. Okay? And if you're the person who helps someone and then talk about it to somebody else, that them big in a society, you think that I'm big in a society, but then them a beg for food because them can't feed them picnic or whatever. I had to go into our native tongue because I know some people who are like that. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Grow up and get beyond that pride and in not being humble. Be humble, because you never know when you're going to be in that situation where you're going to need help. And the person who's going to help you don't want them to go be telling everybody your business that, I help such and such. Don't be that person. Yvonne, you know it, right? You know that's true. Some people are like that, and it's not the humble thing. It's not the graceful thing to do, to give and brag about it or talk ill about someone because they needed your help. Don't do it. And if you hear about somebody who's doing that, just tell them, it's not nice. God blessed you to be able to bless them. Take it as it is, and God will continue to bless you. Don't brag about it. Don't talk bad about them. So mommies, ask for help. Don't be prideful. And for those who are helping them, don't brag about it. Let it be something that you've done for someone and feel good about yourself, because the blessings will continue to come. Okay? All right, my friends, let me see what time it is. It's now 6:38. If you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to hop off here. So please, I'm going to give you a minute or so to think about what I shared with you. And for those of you who are coming in on the replay, I just wanted to talk about boss moms who are working and going through challenges as mothers and are still driving forward, moving forward, because there's no way to go back. We don't want to go backwards. So the only way to go is forward or upward. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about that and talk about things that we should instill in our kids from youth, whether we are modern moms or instilling things that our great grandparents and our grandparents and our mothers instilled in us. I had the honor of being raised by my great grandmother. She was born in 1907. And my grandparents as well. Grandma was born, I think, 1930. She died a year ago. And then my mother, who was born in the 50s, late 50s. And so I was able to get 3 different viewpoints of being a mom, being a parent. And then I've had aunts and others who've been around me. But I'm grateful for all the women in my life that were mommies to me. And I'm grateful to be a mother of one, mother of a daughter, an amazing daughter, and women like Mary, who brought me into her home and took care of me. That's my dad's lady, who took care of me and our daughter when we were in her home, just like being a mom. Oh, and I want to talk about blended families. So next week, let's talk about blended families next week, okay? Because it is so important. Step parents, it's so important. So tell me if you want me to talk about marriage and money next week or blended families, which will cover money somewhat too. But I would love to talk about those 2 things. But I think I will need to talk about one at a time because it can go long. It's so much information for both topics to talk about. So do me a favor, tell me if you would love for me to talk about relationships and finances or just blended families and the dynamics that goes with that. Okay? For the next one. All right, guys. So I don't see anyone asking questions. And so I don't want to be on here for too much longer. But thank you very much for those on the replay. Please go ahead and drop in the box, the comment box where you're joining me from. And thank you for everyone who joined me. Maxine from New York, Anne-Marie from Barbados, Yvonne from Southeast Queens, New York, Tiffany McBean from Orlando, Florida, Alexis from Bronx, Maxine, Maxine's from New York. And Stanley, there's a guy on here, ladies. Stanley from Washington, D.C. And Tiffany Reed from New Jersey. And Sandra, I know Sandra is always watching. Where are you joining me from, Sandra? Yvonne, thank you again. Elaine from the UK. And Mary from Miami. Stacy Hibbert, I think Stacy is in Canada. Stacey, are you in Canada or up north in the U.S.? Tell me, please, so I'll know where all my folks who are tuning in are tuning in from. And Kevin Knox. Kevin, where are you joining me from? Tell me, no man. Where are you joining me from? And Denise, yay, someone from Cali. Denise is joining us from California. Yvonne said blended families. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back on here in another day or 2 and see how many people comment. And if they said families, money and relationships, I'll do that. If not, and they said blended families like you, Yvonne, we'll talk about blended families. And Winston is in Jamaica. Oh, absolutely, sir. Well, Winston said Jamaica, he's in Jamaica, and it would be so nice if I speak about Jesus Christ. I always speak about Christ and my faith. It's a part of me, a part of my everything I discuss. So when it comes time, when I feel it's the right time to just have that be a specific topic, then I can approach that at that time. But because it's a part of my life, right now I won't discuss it, but I am a believer. Okay, Winston, so maybe on a Sunday evening I can do probably a gospel hour for you guys, and I sing as well. As for the folks who tuned in last week, they know that I'm a singer as well, and so I can sing a gospel song, and then I can talk about faith and in my belief and in all that good stuff. So Winston, you can be a little bit more specific about what you would like for me to talk about when it comes to faith, and that's something that I can likely discuss later on. Okay, but just know that I'm a believer, a woman of faith, and that is always a part of me. It's in the central core of me and my life and the way of life. All right, so that's gonna be it, guys. Ladies, happy Mother's Day. Yvonne, Blended Families, I got you. We will definitely, for folks who are on here, please give me some votes as well as far as blended families versus finance and relationships. I would love to talk about that. Okay. Oh, Winston, you said you're in the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Okay, you mentioned something about Jamaica, so I thought you were in Jamaica. But you're in the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Cool. All right. Thank you for joining. Thanks for sharing this with your friends and tagging your friends in here. If you know of any moms who are going through a hard time, please help them out or help to provide some resources so they can go and help themselves. Reach out to whoever it is that's available, okay? And if you ever need to talk, inbox me at Maxine Reyes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to type in here, Yvonne, can you please help me? Repent. Okay. I may have to get a pastor, someone who this is their passion. And because, you know, a lot of us may be of faith, but this is not our calling to be talking on this subject. And I'd rather leave that for someone else who's called for this. Okay. So no disrespect at all, but as long as I know I don't deny him, I'm good. But when it comes to repenting and all these other in-depth theological stuff that you would like to hear about, I'll give it to someone who's passionate about that topic and someone who this is their calling, and let them do it. Let them do the talk on repenting and, you know, more on that stuff. My show is definitely not 100% directed to that, and I'd rather give it to someone else who this is their calling. All right, Winston. So thank you very much for your suggestion. And as I said, you want the right person to be talking about that, and it's definitely not me. Definitely not me. Yvonne, what is this about? Oh, okay. I think he's just giving me a topic when it comes to faith and Jesus Christ to talk about. But as I said, everything, we shouldn't be talking about things that's not our calling. And I may say or pronounce myself as a believer, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be coming on here and talking about repenting and all that stuff. It's not my lane, and I will not take on that task. Confidently, I will not take on that task because it's not where my calling is. But when we want to talk about marriage and families and women, education, children, the youth, mentoring the youth, and money, finances, what else? Several things. Resilience. I'm a master resilience trainer. I can talk about premarital coaching of folks who are getting married. I'm certified in those things. But other things, I will leave it to people who this is what they want to do, and more power to them, and I'll let them do that. All right. So no worries, Yvonne. I think he meant well. Okay. And my pleasure, sir. I appreciate you and thank you for understanding. But I'm not gonna be dishonest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you as much as I know how to right on here. So I would never tell you, yeah, I'm gonna talk about that, knowing in my heart that's not where I need to be. Right? So my best wishes to you. Thank you for joining me. And for everyone on here, thank you very much for joining me as well. And happy Mother's Day to all my moms. And thank you for sharing this post and coming on to Jamaicans.com and joining us. There's so many amazing talk shows on here, and they cover multiple different topics. So please surf the site and see what else that you'd like to watch, and join me over at on Instagram, I'm gonna go on there real quick. My Instagram page is Maxine Reyes TV. So if you go to Instagram, if you type in Instagram.com/MAXINE that's my page. Follow me there, and let's continue this conversation over on that page, okay? One more thing. I see Yvonne says, okay, because I'm a Christian, grew up in the church, but it's Mother's Day weekend. I was enjoying the show. Yeah, man, I got your back. Yeah, so we're talking about Mother's Day, and that's why I said I'm gonna stick with that and not go off topic. And I wouldn't go off topic to talk about that anyway, because it's not my lane. There are other people who this is what they do, whether it's pastors, they're ministers, or that specify in or specialize in talking about repenting and all that stuff. That's not my lane, and I won't try to take over that. All right, so I got your back, Yvonne. And Winston was just giving me a topic that he would like to hear, but he has the wrong person. I would not be the one to talk about that. You love Jamaica, you're from Jamaica, so okay, no worries. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you love your island home. But I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you to everyone who joined, and please join me on Instagram right now. Let me type it in. I was hoping someone would type it in for me, so I'm gonna do it. Instagram.com/MAXINEREYES So join me over there right now, and be sure to follow my page, and make sure if you are just tuning in and you're not following Jamaicans.com, follow it and share as well, okay? Follow this page and share. And I'll talk to you over at Maxine Reyes TV on Instagram right now. And just remember, all mothers, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to your mommies. And gentlemen, if you're on here, some of you are on here, please support the women this weekend. Mother's Day, do something special for them. And yeah, just make them feel good, make them feel confident, boost up them head, and encourage them and support them always, and help them out in the house too. Okay.